this is Linda Lang, and I am going to be showing you how to make a chunky journal. Most of the time I teach religion, different spiritual aspects, but today I'm going to teach you how to create something out of your own imagination. God is our creator, so we can create. Well, so what I want to do is I'm going to show you how to make a chunky journal. This one I made for my granddaughter, and it's got different things going on in the inside, specifically for her, and it's got the charms hanging off to the side. What we're going to make today is this one. This is what I made for my girlfriend, and it's got the different charms hanging down off the side. And inside this journal is filled and packed with a variety of specialty items. And I'm going to teach you how to make each page and how to put this binder together so that it becomes a beautiful encased book. A journal so that they can write in it, and there's pages to write in it and different things they can do. There's pockets, there's letters. The imagination can just go on and on and on. But this is what we're going to do today. So let's get started. Okay, so before I get started, I want to show you another option. Let's say you don't want to make this whole book. See, I'm making it with cardboard and a piece of material. Let's say you had a journal, an old journal that you had, and it was just, you're done. It was 2019, 2018. But, you know, it's kind of cute. It has a card bound. It's got the spiral. I created this because I thought, you know, sometimes people don't want to make the manual or the book itself. So I actually used an old one, and I simply redid the pages. And this one I had a card in the front, and I put a picture of my husband and I here. And love for this. This is from one of my granddaughters. And then you just keep turning the page and you cover everything to do with that calendar. And I really like this because I put a pocket here as well with an envelope. And you just add embellishments on the sides. And you can do this with any of your journals that you already have. And what I did in this case, since I didn't really have strings coming out, I just tied a bunch to this ring here and then added the fringes. So that's another option to do if you don't really want to make the journal completely. You can actually embellish one you already have. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. The other thing I want to show you is, look at this tiny one. You can make a tiny one. So it's just up to you how you want to make it, who you're making it for, and so forth. So this is a really fun one. And again, I made the whole book itself. All right, so now let's get started with the project. The first thing I want to do is talk about our supplies. Now, there is, I have this. This is just a little box that I created from a tissue container, and this is where I keep all my words. Now, what I do is I go to a magazine and I just cut out words, you know, sentences, you know, different things, daring to face the past, and tell your dreams, and clarity. So you've got a ton of stuff in magazines to cut out. Just make a little pile of words that you want to put in your journal. The other thing that I have done is I have collected several stickers from the dollar store. Okay, so it's just, I've got tons of stickers coming from the dollar store. So you can collect those. Maybe you've already got stickers. And again, you can cut stuff out of magazines to make your own stickers. It's just, you know, you could do so much with what you already have in the house. The other thing that you have, maybe, possibly, is you have ribbon. I have all ribbon and different things you can buy at the dollar store, actually, that's actually got sticky on the back so that you can use them as stickers in there. And so here's some more. You can get it, you know, Joann's or whatever. It's just a bunch of ribbon that is stickable. And then, of course, there's paper, a variety of kinds of paper. I've collected paper my whole life. So I've got parchment paper, I got sticky paper, I use labels. I use every kind of paper that I have. I have alphabet stickers, I can make my own wording. Here's one of the pages I created. And so I'm going to show you how to make a page, but this is kind of what I started doing. I had found these stickers at the dollar store, so I would put that on there and a little sticker here from the dollar store. And then I can actually also make tabs, so you can use tabs as well, so you can turn the page. And then I have different stickers on the inside. I've glued and I've sewn. So there's going to be a time you glue and there's a time you sew. And I actually glued this page in, and you open it up and you can write, and isn't that cute? It's just a variety of ways to make a page. This is just a page. This is how you make one of your book pages. I'm going to show you how to make that in a moment. But first, let's talk about the cover. And so you pick a nice piece of material, any kind. This one is for a friend of mine, and she likes black and white and animal print. So I'm creating the zebra. And what I do is I simply size out the size of my book. And you want to size the page. Let's say, this is the size that you want your page. You need to make sure you add at least 3/4 of an inch and then add the next page. And so once you get it done, you can put it together and see if it fits, see if it works in the size and everything. So that's how I do that. And I use an X-Acto knife. You can use any kind of cardboard. You can use a cereal box cardboard. You can use cardboard from the back of a picture. This is what I had this from. Anything that's stiff, that's able to bend and cut. So that's what I've done. Then I took a piece of material and just kind of cut a piece out larger than this square, because we're not going to glue anything at this point. We are going to sew. And when we sew, so what I did was I actually ironed it down a little bit to give it a little bit of a crease at the top, and then I'm just going to sew. You just sew the zigzag all the way around, and I'll be right back after I sew it. What I have done is I had sewn, and yes, you can sew through cardboard just as easily as material. And now look at that. Look at that, how nice that looks. And so you'll notice that I have strings hanging. Let the strings hang. That's part of the project. Let it just be kind of a part of the embellishment, and it's really cool because it makes it look like, see how this one is? Got lots of strings hanging down. It just looks so rustic and really cool looking. And you can make them as thick as you want. In this particular one, you notice how wide this one was. This is like 2 inches. Well, I've gotten it down to maybe 1 inch now because that's a lot of pages. It depends on how big you want to make it. This one is about 1 inch wide. And let me see. Let's see if it's about 1 inch. It's about 1 inch and 3/4 or something like that. So I made it pretty big because what you want to do is you're going to know how many pages you're going to want to put in this crease here. The cool thing too is if you don't have a sewing machine, you don't have to sew anything. I use a hot glue gun. Okay, you use a hot glue gun, and that really works well. And so you'll notice that I'm a little skinny here, but that's okay. I got it over to the side, and I was able to sew it all the way around because we're going to cover this too. You're not going to have all this showing through. So that's what we're going to do right now is we're going to cover the inside of this book. Okay, so what I have found for here is a really cool shiny paper. It's just paper. I got it out of one of my paper thingies. You can actually use material if you want that doesn't fringe, but paper is good. It doesn't have to be heavy, but it's like a cardstock, but not real heavy. It could be whatever you want it to be. But what I'm going to do is if the cardstock is too heavy, you don't want to go across the middle. You want to make sure that you just kind of do it to here and leave the spine alone, and then just cut your squares and glue it down. But since this is light enough, I'm going to go completely across. And all I'm going to do is glue it. And I'm going to glue it with Mod Podge. Mod Podge is the best glue. I've used everything I could think of. It's just the best glue. And so I'm going to use Mod Podge. Don't use a hot iron, this at this point. It's just too bulky and too thick. This keeps the book flat and really straight. So what I'm going to do is I simply get a little brush here and put some glue in it, and then I put it, because I know a little bit about where I'm going to go. I need to at least put it to this crease because I want to make sure that it creases perfectly in the middle there. And then I am going to glue put the glue on the paper. However, I mean, it's just, I'm pretty sure you're gonna, if you can know how to glue, you just glue it, okay? Glue it however you want to do it. Make sure you get the edges really good though. And Mod Podge dries a little quickly, so you got to work a little fast on this. And so I'm going to do this. If the paper's too thin, of course, too, it could bleed through. So make sure you use a little bit of a thick paper. And I am going to just set it down right here and get it to the place where I'm just going to do one side at a time. So you notice how it's covering up all my rough edges on the material. Now this is when it gets a little interesting. You've got to really push down, hold it, and I've used books to put on top of it to hold it down in place. So that's what I'm going to do. I have got a couple of books that I use. They're just handy to have, and I put them right on top of the side. These are my holy Bibles. I'm going to use them for holding that side down. Then I'm just going to turn it around and work on the other side. Okay, so now that's what I'm going to do. And I'll put the glue, don't put it on the spine crease. You could put it on the spine center. That's what I want to do. I want to make sure it gets to the spine center. But I need to be able to have it be flexible in the crease. So that's what I'm going to do. And be kind of generous with your glue. You could put it on, if you know what the size of your paper is. And as a matter of fact, it dries clear. So if you get a little bit of glue on the outside of it, that's fine too. And then you could just push it down. And then of course, if you think you need to add a little bit more, just add it to the side of your item as well. So that's what we're going to do, and just glue it on down. And I'll stick it in a little bit in here. So it's really forgiving. It's a really forgiving glue. It dries clear and it holds. So it holds onto the material. So make sure you really hold it down and glue it really good, okay? On the middle too, because I got a little bit on the spine there because I wanted to connect it to the spine. Okay, so while we're waiting for the glue to dry on the cover, we can start with the insides. Now what you want to do is find the kind of paper you want to use for the inside. And I'm thinking, you know, tiger, lion, zebra, colorful. My friend loves color. So I have this little book that it's an adult coloring book, and I'm going to pull a couple of pages out of this and use it for one of my inserts, you know. So I think I really like this one with the bird. I'm just going to pull that out and use that. Grab hold of your kids' books, ones that they've already colored. Use their pages. Don't let their crafts go to waste. Create a journal. Be creative. You can just get out and think outside the box. Now this particular paper, this is those 12 by 12 squares you can buy at Joann's. You can get some at the dollar store, whatever. But I had collected these for years and years, and I go, what am I going to do with these? I mean, the stack is this high. It's just a stack of paper. So I pulled out a few, and you want to make 6 pages 4 times. So we're going to pick 6 of these out. Now here's one that's already kind of cut. Don't waste your cut off pages. Use them. You can use them for the inserts, for a fold over, for a design. So I'm going to use that as an insert. Now these are the pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are cardstocks, and I want to use just regular paper too. So I want to mix them up. 1, 2, 3. Here's a white one. 4. And by the way, on the back is white on most of these. Some of them have two-sided color. Then you want to embellish those. But right now I've got white on the back, so it's easy to create my journals. Right, so I'm going to use 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one more, and I'll use this one. So that's one set. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to make one set, and you do it 4 times. That's why I'm telling you it takes a while, because you're getting creative with your thinking, how to make the different pictures, what you're going to do with each page. Now, of course, this is way too big for my journal. Now I have to cut it to match my book. All right, so here's my dried insert done. And I carefully folded right here. I carefully held both top and bottom and I folded like this, okay, so that I make that crease like that. This area is going to be hidden, okay, because that's where your pages are going to go. All right, so here's my folded book. I like it because it got the zebra right on the front. I didn't even plan for that, so that's kind of cool. And now what I'm going to do is measure out my pages. Now I'm going to cut using this one, just a sample. You could probably cut a sample paper, probably best for the first time, because sometimes it's like, oh, I cut it too small, I cut it too big, and you've wasted all your good paper. So just use something that isn't going to be a waste to you. So I'm going to go 5 inches in, let's do it this way. I'll go this way, 5 inches. And again, you can use any kind of a cutter, scissors or whatever. And let's see, I think that works. That's this way. I want to at least cut this across so that I have the ability to fold the book in the page in half. I'm just going to cut this at the bottom. See how it cuts through all that really nicely? Okay, so now I have this. And then I fold all these pages together to the size of that book. I'm sorry, I'm out of the picture frame there for a minute. And you just fold it. Okay. Make sure it's nice and straight, and then you just cut off the edge. This is my first pre-folded pages. And make sure that the pages fit inside my book. So I fold the book like this and I go like that. Oh yeah, that's perfect. There, it has a little bit of a space because I'm going to be adding embellishments on to the side. And again, look how these stick out. Look how these stick out from the book. It is so cool. So know that your pages can't go wrong, okay? All right. So that's one set. So right now, this is the fun part, you guys. Making your pages. Okay, so we're going to set all the others aside, and I'm going to just work with one. Now, I'm just going to show you how to do one, and then you are going to be creative in your own right and make yours. So make sure it's folded really nice, creased down. And you'll notice that there's color on this side. It's like, okay, so it's kind of hard to write in a journal when there's a bunch of stuff and design on it. But look on the inside. Ooh, nice. So we're going to use this as well. So let's start with the front. Now, I'm going to probably do this in a time lapse because I've got to stop, get materials, and go back and forth. My page 1. It's already got some stuff in it. It's really cool. Now I'm opening it up to go to page 2. Now the interesting part is that these pages aren't going to be connected together. You're going to have other pages in between, so whatever's on the right is not going to be on the right when you're done with this page. Okay, so I'll show you that in a little while. Here's the other thing you can do. If you have a sewing machine, this is the perfect time to sew this onto here. Because I tell you what, it will never come up. Glue might in time. So, and on the back I don't have anything going on. So you know what I'm going to do? Instead of using glue in this particular case, I am going to sew it. I'll be right back. So what I did was I sewed this onto it. Now the cool part about sewing is now you've got these strings. This stays with it. It's part of the project, so you leave it on there. You might want to cut them, trim them down a little bit, but that's what I did. Now on the back, you'll see that the zigzag is showing through. You can leave that as a design, or you can do this. You can actually take something that you've even made. You can make this. I made these. I just had at the dollar store, I bought a roll of this burlappy type trim, and then I just found these pom-poms like this. You can get them in color or in white. Okay, I make my own trim because it's costly to buy this stuff. And then I just took some floss, which I got at the dollar store, and sewed through the ball and then sewed up into the material. Then I went back and sewed through the ball all the way down. What I did was I measured so that I'm not going to cut into my sewing, right? I measured to make sure it stays within those lines. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this in over this zigzag. I mean, you can leave it, you can do whatever you want, but I'm going to choose to cover it a little bit. Okay, there's that. And that's glued. Now I like the ballies to go off to the side of the page, of course, so that's the design. Okay. Now I've got that on this side. Look how cute that looks. All right. So now I want to decorate the inside. That's a good one. So don't throw out your magazines. Use the pages for your words. Matter of fact, if you notice, I have a how-to. I like that. I'm going to keep that. Put that back in my box. So again, here I am, wiping off my glue on my paintbrush. Put it on here. Make sure you get all the edges. That's the most important. That's why it gets all over your hands, because you want to make sure it gets to the edges. And then fine piece anywhere. Look at that. Now there's a variety of things you can do. I can add a trim across. One of the things that I have done, and I really like doing it, is I'll use a pen myself and I'll maybe dot across so that it shows, okay, that's where you can write down in here. You see how I trim that off? I'll do the same up here. And remember, these pages will not be side by side. So you can make the pages identical. It doesn't matter. It's going to be somewhere else in your book. So that's how I've done my pages. What you do is you take a pen and you mark where you want to put the holes. So you want to put it right in the middle of this crease, so it's right there. And then again down here, you want to mark it because it's easier to see when you. On my brad, see, look how pretty it is on the outside. Like that, like that, like that. And like that, okay? So now you're ready to assemble your book. And then you take floss. As tight as you can to make sure that the pages meet the back of that. Now you've added one section into your book. Put it in the middle again, like that. I'm going to go to the front of the book, set it down, and thread it through those eyelets again. I'm just going to take one, and I start stringing stuff to it. Now,